The carnival season is upon us. It's here now. And in Jamaica, that could be as early as February. There'll be party buses, there'll be other soca parties all over Jamaica. There is going to be fetes, there'll be soca cruises, and then finally, April 23, there'll be Carnival March. And before you know it, you need to be carnival ready. And one of the biggest questions on Google right now, according to Ipsos.com, is how to lose fat. Everybody seems to want to know what this mysterious thing is and how can we get rid of it. Well, today I'm going to help you to be carnival ready. My name is Janoy. I am from Body Metrics Training Systems, and let's get to it. Fat isn't some demon or mystical thing that just appears after December or right before a wedding or right before an important event. It's something that happens as a result of what we put in our bodies and, in a way, what we don't do to get it out of our bodies. Our bodies have little to no resistance to the absorption of fat. It's easy to go into what we call a caloric surplus, right? And that's where our bodies start to save the extra calories that it doesn't need as fat. That's exactly how the body stores excess energy. It's called lipogenesis. And truth be told, if you only ate protein, and let's say your body needs 2,000 calories, but you ate about 3,000 calories worth of protein, you would still store that excess protein as fat because, a point to note, all food is really energy. That's all it is to us humans. No matter the taste, no matter how you feel about it or whether you're allergic or not, food is just energy. We need it to go. But if we consume too much, more than our lungs, heart, and muscles and everything we do need, then we're going to store that excess as fat. It's neither bad nor good, it just is. And believe it or not, your body actually needs it. So for, I think, vitamins A, D, and E, these are fat soluble vitamins, your body needs fat in order to absorb those kind of nutrients. So don't walk away from this video thinking, I'm going to stop eating all fried foods, I'm going to boil all my foods or roast or bake them. I am never touching oil again. No, that's not the point of this. Eating an excess of anything, once you eat an excess of that and you're not doing any activity to use up that energy, you are going to store fat subcutaneously and viscerally. If your goal this carnival season is to lose body fat, then you're going to need to be in a caloric deficit. And that can be achieved in several ways. The first way that most people try is to eat less. The second way is to move more. And then there is a combination of those two. Now, there are some things to take into consideration if you're going to do any one of those. And that is how you manage the macronutrient intake. What exactly is a macronutrient? Macronutrients are simply three main types of foods that we eat, if you want to put it in simple terms. We either consume a carbohydrate, a fat, or a protein. Our diet in Jamaica here tends to be very carb rich and very high in fat. In fact, it's probably one of the reasons why we have such a high incidence of lifestyle related diseases such as hypertension and diabetes. We need to maintain a caloric deficit if we intend to lose weight, because all food is energy. The body prefers carbohydrates as a source of energy, and in fact, most things that you consume are broken down into glycogen, some kind of available energy source for the body to use for exercise. The more carbohydrates we consume, the more available energy becomes to us. The problem lies in how much do we consume and how do we use our bodies. So if you're the type of person, you're sitting at your desk all day and you're also eating all day, then your body has no reason to burn excess calories. Most of the times when we check out fat loss videos on YouTube, we're told the same things over and over again. You know that you're supposed to be in a net calorie deficit. You know that you should be drinking more water. You know, minimize processed foods, eliminate your sugars, minimize your fats. But there's something that we don't put a lot of emphasis on, and that is fidgeting more. And I'm very sorry it is as simple as this. I'm sorry there isn't a great secret recipe for fat loss. But the secret is we don't do enough. You know, we don't walk more. Do simple things like chores, for instance. We have something in most facets of our lives to make everything simple. And that luxury has lulled us into laziness. And as simple as that may seem, it may feel a little reductive to come to that conclusion, but think about it. Back when you were much younger, especially for us 80s babies, when there wasn't as much technology around, or when technology wasn't as developed as it is today, and maybe at the time you didn't have a car, you had to walk to the shop, or you had to walk maybe 2 blocks to pick up something from a relative, or whatever your chores might include. Maybe you had to go to the laundromat somewhere away from home, from your community. But either way, something as simple as commuting would require you to do some kind of walking. Today, most persons can get an Uber for relatively cheap. It's not as hard as it used to be to move around. Some people have robots in their homes doing all the sweeping and all the general cleaning of their living area. Some of us don't even fold our laundry. And it might seem insignificant, but think of this. Think of the last person that you know who fidgets, literally fidget. I mean, tap their legs, tap the table, can't seem to stop moving. And is that person lean? Are they obese? Do they have an excess of body fat? And chances are you'll find that they're mostly lean people. You see, the thing is, our bodies require calories to function. Our brain needs calories to think. Our eyes need calories to see. Blinking, breathing, hand gestures, typing, everything requires calories. And so, biological deduction, the more you do and the more you move, the more calories you burn. One of the reasons that muscular persons lose weight is because of their NEAT, their non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Things like muscle are a luxury item biologically. It is something that the body isn't particularly designed to deal with an excess of. So building more muscle requires more blood and oxygen to flow to that area. Nerves have to innovate in those muscles. And to move those muscles requires additional calories. The more muscles you have, the more calories you will need to move those muscles. And that's why larger, leaner persons are able to get away with the occasional snacking, and maybe they can go a week or two without exercising without that having any detrimental effect on their appearance, because their NEAT is simply very convenient for them. Their BMR is basically facilitating fat burning. When we think of fat loss, people think of hard things like eating only lettuce, drinking tons of lukewarm water, or always on the treadmill or on the bicycle. The trick to losing weight lies in increasing your daily exposure to physical activity. And that is the secret. At Carnival, most of you will be pelting waste, waving banners, wearing heavy costume, carrying people around. And guess what? You're here to have a good time and you want to do it well, right? So, I would suggest the following. You're going to do your aerobic activity, which is whatever cardio you do, walking, running, hiking. But then you'll also have to do something that has a loaded carry, a hip extension activity, and also something that helps you to lift overhead or pull your body up as well. So we're looking at something like a hip thrust or a squat. You need a shoulder press, a pull up, something that trains the major body parts. Now, I know a lot of people are probably waiting on a specific exercise or answer, but the truth is, just moving more for about, let's say, 150 minutes a week and restricting your calories, that alone is enough to start the journey. You start today, in 6 weeks, you cannot be the same. If you keep track of your weight and the way you look in the mirror, if you keep track of what you're lifting, so if you walked 5 miles today, tomorrow you can walk 5 miles but do it a bit faster. Maybe next month you can walk 6 miles and then you can proceed to walk 6 miles faster. The point is, whatever you decide to do, you must be able to progress it. Meaning, there must be a way to improve on the performance over time, little by little. And I think searching for specific exercises and specific things to eat will do more harm than good. And the basic tenet of fat loss is to ensure that you are burning more calories than you're putting in your body. I think also the more you like what you do, the more likely you are to continue doing it. So for those of you out there who are soca fans and the finances allow, go to the soca parties, have a good time, fet on the weekends, go to the beach, go for a swim. I can't speak specifically to a superior set of exercises or a superior diet that will help you. That's a more nuanced discussion, but what I would encourage you to do, whatever your choice is for physical activity, make sure you enjoy it, make sure you can progress it, and make sure you stick to it. And you will see results providing that you keep track of these things. If moving 60 minutes for the week does not move the scale in a favorable direction, or when you look at your body in the mirror, you're not seeing the results you want, you need to be increasing the amount of activity that you do, and or decreasing the amount of calories you're putting in your body. Any conversation about fat loss will have to look at some don'ts and some things to avoid when trying to lose weight or to lose fat. One of those things is also related to fetting and carnival, and that is drinking. I know that a lot of us, we occasionally have a sip of alcohol here or there, but just for the next 6 to 8 weeks, minimize your consumption of alcohol. Take an inventory of how you feel. There are lots of activities that we engage in that harm our fat loss campaigns. One of that includes not getting enough sleep. Some of us do sleep at night. However, the quality of sleep is very lacking. Something that I would encourage us to do is take a supplement called magnesium. Everybody's seen a bottle somewhere in the pharmacy, but taking it before bed is a very good way to increase your sleep quality. I'm not a doctor, I'm not an expert or a pharmacist, but I can attest to its personal effects on me. And if you're not sure, consult your physician and do some reading yourself. Drinking water also helps. If you aren't drinking enough water, then you are missing out on one of the amazing ways that the body eliminates fat, which is through sweat and urine. So drink as much water as you can tolerate without self-flooding. A very good rule of thumb is to never feel thirsty throughout the day. If you do feel thirsty, chances are you should have been drinking water 2 hours ago. So drinking about 250 milliliters every half hour to 1 hour should suffice and keep you adequately hydrated throughout the day. Smoking is highly discouraged if you are trying to lose fat. And I'm not saying that people who smoke are bad, but from a fat loss standpoint, it does hurt your gains. I know there are persons, I personally know one bodybuilder who actually smokes. He's very lean, he's in great shape. But I encourage everybody to not only think about how good you look, but also how good you feel. If you look your best and you can also feel your best, then you're better able to enjoy the shenanigans at Carnival. And lastly, please keep stress at a minimum. Stress is a very finicky thing to discuss. Unless you're an endocrinologist, most people aren't qualified to discuss same. But I encourage you, please take some time for yourselves. When you wake up in the mornings, spend your first 10 minutes doing some positive self-talk. Set some goals. Doesn't have to be anything huge. It can be as simple as, let's just make it throughout today. Let's drink 6 glasses of water today. Let's get in 3,000 steps. Fat loss is as hard as you make it out to be. It can be fun if you focus on the fun that is to be had and the results that are to be earned from maintaining and continuing to encourage good habits and minimizing and even quitting bad habits. One final word on fat loss and an official closing note. I'd just like to say that it took me about 60 days to complete this video. I even gave up at one point in the new year, I think around mid-January. The point is that in spite of my fears, you're here right now with me watching this video. And the same applies to your fat loss goals. You don't have to start perfect, but you have to make the effort to begin today. And it takes a lot to make the first step, but it will get easier as time goes on. And I promise you, when your product is finished, when your personal product, your body is finished, whether it's for Carnival or your wedding or anything after that, starting and staying committed and forgiving yourself for going off course and getting back on course is going to be pivotal to the long-term survival of your fat loss journey. So we're in this together. I may have the physique that most people would say is okay, you don't need to be on a fat loss journey, but like someone else who has that an issue with starting for the first time in the gym or taking their training to the next level, I am with you with my YouTube journey. So, I say that to say, our growth will be measured alongside each other. How many of you will take your friends to see me, to join in on this journey, and to crush our goals, meet our targets? How will I get to the first 1,000 subscribers? That largely depends on how consistent I am. How better do I get at delivering content? And the same applies to you. Start today. Worry about the details tomorrow. Hire a personal trainer if you need one. And let's work towards our goals for 2025. Let's fit with our best body yet.